Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to our next team. This is Matthew Lowe from ZeroKey.
Thanks. Good afternoon. So I'm co-founder of a company called ZeroKey. It's kind of fitting that we're here at Collision because ZeroKey is kind of the collision of spatial computing and the fourth industrial revolution. So what we've done actually is develop this unique and innovative sensor technology. It's this little thing I'm holding in my hand. It's not much bigger than a dime, and this is a indoor positioning device. So we can track this guy in a very wide environment to a very high accuracy. And by wide environment, I mean it could be a conference center, it could be a factory, warehouse, distribution center, shopping center, retail store, you name it. The possibilities are kind of endless. But by high accuracy, we do something different than anyone else in the market. And essentially, we're talking about accuracies that are a millimeter, and we're tracking in full 3D in real time. So in a supply chain environment, for example, we would be tracking hundreds of thousands of these simultaneously in real time. We have a client that's actually attaching this in place of an RFID tag. And so each one of these is uniquely identified, and so it doubles as the identification mechanism for the product. So they're now tracking every product through their supply chain, through every distribution center and onto the retail floor in full 3D in real time. Kyle's just setting up the demo behind me. As soon as he gets that running, we'll show you quickly what the technology can do. So we actually brought a real functioning thing to show you, hopefully. So one of the other things I should mention, this is really, really big in anytime there's a manual process. So if you think about kind of your everyday life and the touch points you have with objects when you go about your day, most of those devices are not connected devices. So everything from the chair you're sitting in, your purse, the glasses on your face, because they're not connected, they're basically invisible to the digital world. And that means developing productivity solutions and solutions to improve your life for those devices which can't really interact digitally is very, very difficult. So by giving them a tracking sensor like this, you're essentially digitizing their position, bringing them into the digital space. Good to go? Cool. So what we have here, this is one of our tracked objects. So the system sets up really, really quickly. Is it on the, yeah, cool. So essentially, this would be something that's attached to a pallet or a box in a supply chain. And so as this would move through the environment, you can see that it would be tracked perfectly in that space. Now, this technology here is really unique because for covering larger and larger areas, you simply add more and more nodes. So in that sense, they form kind of a mesh network. So you can cover an entire warehouse. Every square inch of that warehouse can be tracked in full 3D. And it's not just pallets and boxes, it's ID badges, it's forklifts, AGVs. One of our biggest sectors is actually the automotive manufacturing sector. In that sector, we're able to do process optimization, automation, health and safety, ergonomic analysis. It's actually been very profitable because in that sector they have a big problem, and that is all the metallic items in the environment basically throw off all the other competing positioning systems. Those systems are based on ultra-wideband or Bluetooth like BLE, so they're all RF based. This is actually ultrasonic based. And we'll jump to the next one. Oh, perfect. So in this case, so we're showing you this in a virtual environment. This would actually be done in a real environment. Obviously, we can't bring a robotic arm into the stage here, but this is just for visualization. And so with a guy like this, if I can get it right, can pick up the box. And so it's essentially just being, the end of the robotic arm is just being attached to this in space. So you get that ability to do that millimeter accuracy, and really the possibilities are endless. Every client we go into, every environment we go into, they all seem to have unique use cases and new ways to apply this technology to really drive cost savings in their business. And just to really show you the versatility of the different use cases. So we have another client that actually wants to do a fitness type tracker to get more intelligent data. And so in these environments, you can track data, and so the character, I asked my team to model it after me, and I think they did a pretty good job, by the way. But you can track all sorts of exercises, and we're talking about getting actually intelligent and informed data, not just data that is essentially useless, you're getting real-time positioning in 3D space. This is something that we've never had in these types of environments before. So you can really start to imagine the types of applications and solutions that come from this are now more intelligent, they're now giving better insights, it's really kind of a snowball effect. For example, in the supply chain side, by adding our technology to their supply chain environment, they're now realizing they can do all sorts of new solutions on their retail side just by leveraging the exact same technology they already made the investment for. So it's really all-encompassing, and we really position the tech as a core technology for that purpose. We're rather industry agnostic in that sense. At the end of the day, something like this is a couple of dollars, so it's very inexpensive. The nodes are not really the expensive part of the system, and we will plan any deployment for a customer on a case-by-case basis if they have unique needs and that sort of thing. So that's my pitch. I'd love to hear any questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much. All right, judges.
So my question is, how do your customers use the data? Do you have a platform or some kind of analytics screen that they can look at?
Yeah, so we have a number of different ways to get them the data, and different clients are different. In a lot of them, we'll stream them over a simple API, a WebSockets API, that pretty much anyone can handle in this day and age. We also support a couple of the common data formats in the industry. It's common in the motion capture industry, for example, to have certain data formats. So we support broadly all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, follow.
What are the top use cases that you're centering your go-to-market around?
Sure. So Industry 4.0 is a big one, especially in the automotive sector. So virtually every big automotive is our client currently, and they use it for process optimization. They use it also to eliminate manual processes. So this is essentially embedded into a Fitbit type tracker for some people. And so instead of, you have a lot of manual processes in the assembly process where you have to manually press a button. You know, you do something, press a button, do something, press a button. But if you're being tracked, you no longer have to press that button at the end because you already know you've done that process. But not only that, you catch mistakes as they're made. So if you reach to the wrong bin that has the wrong size of bolt in it, we can catch that mistake as it's being made, which is actually a huge cost saver, because if you're talking about a car or something like that, as that car gets further down the assembly line, it's more and more expensive to pull it off and fix that mistake. And if, assembly lines, they can't back up. If you back up an assembly line, you're costing yourself millions of dollars a day. It's very expensive. So in that sense, it's a very high efficiency and high accuracy type scenario. That's really our bread and butter. Anything that's wide area, high accuracy is our sweet spot.
And how do you monetize?
How do we monetize? So we sell sensors. It's really that simple. We do have 3 business models. Essentially, we will sell this as an off-the-shelf, ready-to-go product. We will also sell the guts of this, just the PCBs for solution integrators. And then for our really big clients that have in-house engineering and capabilities like that, we will license the technology and they will integrate it into their products. We also have a subscription model for support and updates as well. And in the supply chain, these sensors are kind of disposable in some senses, so there's an ongoing recurring model there where they continue to buy the tracked sensors.
Sorry, I would like to ask about the battery life of that sensor. Is it how often the guys need to recharge when
Sure.
operations?
So on a CR2032 battery, a little coin cell battery, this can last up to 2 years. That depends on the update rate. So if you want to update it every 5 minutes like you would in the supply chain, that gets you the 2 years. If you want to do something like what we did here, it's a higher update rate and the battery life goes down. We can also throw bigger batteries. We have a lithium-ion powered version, and we have versions that plug into tools and equipment that they use the power sources that are already built in.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Matt.
guys.
Anyways, I will shut the suspense, but the winner is ZeroKey. Perfect. Did you want to just walk up to